So welcome everyone. My name is Erin. My pronouns are she, her, and I am the Student Recruitment Officer at the UBC Vancouver campus. And I'd like to acknowledge that the land that UBC has built its Vancouver campus on, which we work, learn, connect, and innovate, is the unceded ancestral territory of the Musqueam peoples. And I'd like to start off today by introducing my colleague, Kyle.
Thanks, Erin. Hi, everyone. Welcome. We are so excited to have you here for this UBC engineering presentation. My name is Kyle Watson. I'm an engineering advisor from UBC's Okanagan campus. My pronouns are he, him. UBC's Okanagan campus is situated on the unceded ancestral and traditional territory of the Silks, Okanagan Nation, and their peoples. We also like to acknowledge that you students are joining from many places near and far, and acknowledge the traditional owners and caretakers of the lands that you are connecting from today. We have two superstar current UBC students that are also joining us tonight and will be available at the end for some question and answers. We would like to introduce them quickly though before we get going. I'm going to turn the mic over to Jing to introduce herself, please.
Hi everyone, my name is Jing and I'm currently a second year mechanical engineering student at UBC Vancouver. And I'm actually from Malaysia, and one fun thing to share is that my favorite ice cream flavor from Rain or Shine is sesame and chai. They're really good. You should go try it. Okay, that's it for me.
Hi everyone, my name is Alexandra Rybka. My pronouns are she, her. I'm a third year standing manufacturing engineering student at the Okanagan campus. Little fact about me, I am originally from Ontario. I like to say Toronto, but for anybody that's from there, they would know Oakville is not Toronto. Yeah, looking forward to answering any questions that you guys have.
Thank you, Alexandra, and thank you, Jing. Over the next handful of slides, we are going to be covering everything that you need to know about UBC engineering. And towards the end of the presentation, we will be opening up for questions for you to ask Jing, Alexandra, Erin, or myself. So what is engineering? You've probably done some math courses, maybe some physics or even chemistry, possibly even biology throughout your time in high school. Based on your schoolwork, you might be able to conceptualize what engineers do. Maybe we can even call upon yourselves to participate in the chat. Maybe type in what you think engineers do, what assumptions you might have within the industry of engineering, and what creations you think engineers interact with every day. Type it in the chat, go ahead and participate. There's nothing wrong that you can put in there. We're just wondering what you might think engineering is or what engineering students experience in the classroom. Maybe things like your school building or the bridges you see around or cars driving. Yes, Formula One cars. Engineers have impact on all of these. Driverless taxis or Teslas, rockets, all of these types of things. I'm looking in the chat right now and seeing buzzwords like make stuff, creating and designing things. Yes, design, build, utilize AutoCAD, applying scientific concepts. Wow, okay, you're all pros on what engineering is. This is wonderful. Applying science, being smart, making things. Change the world. That's a big one. Thank you, Chris. Change the world indeed. These are all excellent topics. Innovate solutions, drafting. Okay, wonderful. You're all pros and you have a good idea of what engineering is. We are going to dive a little bit deeper into that comparison. So if we look at scientists and maybe engineers, or engineering versus science, what is the difference? Scientists seek to describe and understand the natural world. Engineers, on the other hand, we are considering various criteria and constraints in order to design solutions to problems, design solutions to needs or wants, and essentially make the world a better place. This includes our technology, environment, medicine. Life, natural, and physical sciences focus on attaining fundamental knowledge about a subject through empirical and often quantitative methods. An engineer's goal, on the other hand, isn't to necessarily discover new scientific principles by observing phenomena, but rather to apply the principles attained through scientific research to solve real world problems, creating solutions like mentioned in the chat earlier. So for instance, scientists know the human body inside and out. They direct engineers on what knowledge is most relevant, and engineers apply that knowledge to mass produce, say, vaccines, so that everyone in Canada and around the world can have access to it, or to create a bionic arms as a form of prosthetic, like you'd see in the image on the right-hand side of your screen. At UBC, you have the chance to write your own story. We have a student story from the bottom left corner here, Jenny Hoslin, the lady in the bottom left. She studied civil engineering at UBC's Okanagan campus. After graduation, Jenny worked in transportation engineering on projects such as public transport planning in Vancouver, BC, and Toronto, not Oakville, but Toronto. She actually was hired for her first position by reaching out to a supervisor from one of her co-op terms, who passed her resume connections into a transportation company. She then was able to transfer to London, England, where she worked on a road safety analysis, travel demand management, and much more. Jenny's currently decided to complete an energy and transport management program, where she is able to combine management and technical skills to complete a semester abroad in Europe. In the top left corner, we have Shanina. She studied all about bionic arms as an electrical engineer in the biomedical stream on UBC's Vancouver campus, but she did much more than that. She also worked with Moses and Matthew to create SOMA, an education platform that enables children to have access to world-class education tools and resources without an internet connection. Today, Shanina works at McKinsey, a top consultancy in the world, where she works in a multidisciplinary team to advise leadership on top companies and governments. What does UBC Engineering offer in terms of a degree? We have a lot to offer. For one, you'll be studying a professional degree upon first entry into university. At UBC, we have the Bachelor of Applied Science degree. You might see some other universities that offer a Bachelor of Science and Engineering or a Bachelor of Engineering. For UBC, it's referred to as a Bachelor of Applied Science degree, and you'll specialize in your specialization. It could be manufacturing engineering like Alexandra, mechanical engineering, or there's a whole wealth of specializations that are offered for both programs. Other programs often require a graduate degree, though, before you can go into the workforce, but not all. So for you, you'll have the opportunity to complete a 4-year Bachelor of Applied Science degree. After graduation, you can attend graduate studies. You can begin other professional degrees like in law and medicine, or you can go right into the workforce. Our Bachelor of Applied Science degree is accredited. You will be able to go for your engineering and training certifications and hopefully eventually become a professional engineer. So we're excited you are considering UBC Engineering. At UBC, you are going to be part of an amazing community. There's so much for you to look forward to throughout your degree, and there's multiple ways to get involved beyond the classroom. UBC Engineering really fosters community. Right from the time you enter UBC Engineering, you'll have support systems like our first year orientations. You'll have the opportunity to get involved with so many different clubs, which is a great way to connect with your peers. And we have some of our students that are participating here today we're going to be able to share some info about clubs as well. I'm going to pass it back over to Erin now to share more about all of the different opportunities that our UBC Engineering students are able to experience.
Bit more about some of those community clubs that we have. At either campus, we have lots of different clubs that will really support you in your communities. We have Women in Engineering at both campuses. We have some that are available at one campus or the other as well, but really lots of ways to get connected with your kind of community even deeper in engineering. We also have the Engineering Undergraduate Society, which organizes events throughout the year and provides a space for you to connect with your peers and senior students who can talk about their journeys. There's lots of events that the EUS organizes every year. And then at the Okanagan campus, there's the Engineering Society as well. So there's lots of ways that students are really supporting each other and supporting other students to get connected and be part of that community. So again, Jing and Alexandra can talk a little bit about some of their experiences if you have questions about that as we go through the presentation. You can definitely add any questions you have into the chat, and we'll open up for Q&A at the end. But yeah, just thinking about, there's so many different ways to get involved, and it's really such a big university. So UBC has many design teams that you can be a part of. We have over 400 campus-wide clubs. And Kyle, I'll pass it back to you just to finish up the rest of these slides before I jump into more about admissions.
Thanks, Erin. Design teams and clubs are a great way to get involved. And these design teams or clubs, there are offered within engineering, but there's also clubs well beyond engineering as well. Here's a handful that are covered in terms of UBC design clubs. You can see up here covering sustainability, and we have engineering clubs as well to get involved. These would be the Okanagan campus ones, in addition to Vancouver and Okanagan campus engineering or design clubs. The student unions from both campuses facilitate, like Erin said, over 400 clubs. They also carry a motto: if you can't find a club that fits you, you can start your own. We had a student on the Okanagan campus a couple of years ago who felt there was a shortage of hammocks for reading around campus. He started his own hammock club, got the funding, had a fleet of hammocks that they set up around campus for students to read or study, hanging from a tree between classes. Pretty cool stuff, but a great way for you to get involved, find that sense of community, make new friends, build your support network as you make that sometimes intimidating or stressful jump from your hometown and high school into university, a new city, a new campus. Sometimes the best way to succeed in that stressful time is finding new friends who are going through the same experience as you. So when we talk about the engineering degree, later on your degree, you're going to be able to customize your studies by choosing to pursue your specialization, also referred to as a major. This is usually going to happen after your first year of studies. There's also additional ways to complement your degree experience, and these can be referred to as minors, dual degrees, or even options. In a sense, these are going to be additional courses. If we're talking about a minor or a dual degree, they're additional courses from another faculty that can add a credential onto your degree. This could help in your strategy when you are applying for graduate studies, if you want to pursue a particular pathway, or if you're applying into the workforce and looking to gain an edge on other engineers that might be competing as well. Options are another way to sort of focus in your engineering degree a little bit more and earn possibly an extra credential in a particular field of study. Okanagan campus, for example, we have environmental engineering as an option. But these would be not required, but there's certainly ways to satisfy additional thirst throughout your student experience. Engineering co-op is also a really popular program. We see usually between 50 to 60% of our graduating class each year pursuing the co-op program. At UBC, yes, there is co-op. In addition to that, there is the applied science co-op only available for engineering students. And we have equal opportunities on both campus for current engineering students to pursue that real-world professional experience. A lot of our co-op students actually have full-time job offers before they've even finished their UBC engineering degree. And it's going to give you that professional experience to succeed in industry and the workforce. Go globals and coordinated experiences. These are really cool. You can take courses still following your engineering degree pathway from a different campus in a different country. Maybe you head over to Edinburgh to study some engineering courses for a term, get to travel around on the weekends or stay extra for summertime to do some traveling. But you can take pre-articulated courses that count towards your UBC engineering degree and wouldn't delay your degree completion timeline if you're following the program details, but a great opportunity for you to get out, explore, travel, enjoy your student experience, maybe extend it a little bit beyond what you had anticipated for those 4 years, because sooner or later you'll be like Aaron and I in the real world with a job and responsibilities of bills and mouths to feed and all that good stuff, and looking back thinking, geez, I miss those days of being a university student. So from the very start of your degree, you will be exposed to hands-on design projects. You're going to be working in teams with other first-year students, and you are also going to be learning that engineering industry-based team project of problem solving. You'll also have courses year after year that continue to build on those project-based team learning experiences. And this also includes the signature UBC Engineering course, your capstone design project. This is again team-based, a full year course, very, very popular among our engineering students, but also our industry partners. We often see students getting job offers based on their capstone project, or even opportunities to expand in research and pursue graduate studies based on their senior capstone project. Essentially, you'll learn the theme of team-based, project-based right from year 1 through to the end of your degree in year 4 studies. A lot of our students will also get involved in research later in the degree. There is an opportunity for paid research experience, or you can do it on your own with support from clubs like the Undergraduate Research Opportunities Club. There's funding opportunities for this as well. We even see students just looking to get their foot in the door with research and volunteering their time in a lab to maybe start and open up some of these opportunities. Maclean's Magazine just recently ranked UBC Engineering as #1 in Canada. One of the main reasons we're able to achieve these high rankings is because of the incredible research that's happening at UBC across both campuses. And something that's really cool about our undergraduate programs, undergraduate students can get involved with that research.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Kyle. So I'm going to jump in now to talk a little bit more about those programs at both of our campuses and focus a little bit on some of those admission questions that I know you probably have. So talking a little bit about our programs, we've already mentioned this a couple of times, but UBC Engineering is one program across 2 campuses. So you may be thinking about applying to the Okanagan campus in Kelowna or the Vancouver campus, but regardless of which one you're applying to, you'll start in the foundational first year to learn about the courses that are the foundation of your degree. So that's chemistry, physics, math, and your communication courses. At the Okanagan campus, there are 4 specializations that you can choose from. So that's civil, electrical, manufacturing, and mechanical engineering. Students will choose their specialization through the second-year placement process at the end of their first year. And at the Okanagan campus, there are no caps on any of the programs. So that means that you're guaranteed a seat in your specialization of choice at the Okanagan campus. At the Vancouver campus, there are 14 specializations as shown on this slide. So students also apply for their specialization at the end of their first year. And at the Vancouver campus, students will go through the second-year placement process, which is competitive in order to be placed into the programs that you're interested in. So the main difference between the 2 campuses is really location. The programs offered, so there are 4 programs at the Okanagan campus, 14 at the Vancouver campus, so it may depend on which program you're planning to pursue. And then that piece about the competitive placement, which happens at the Vancouver campus, whereas it's not competitive at the Okanagan campus. So those are kind of a real summary of both campuses and kind of the differences that you can expect. But regardless of which campus you come to, you're going to be able to complete your full engineering degree. And in fact, we recommend starting at whatever campus you plan to finish at. So talking a little bit more about admissions, now that you know about the kind of student experiences that may be available to you, you know about our programs, thinking a little bit more about what you need to be admitted. So there are several admission routes to get into UBC Engineering. You can apply directly to UBC from high school to either campus. So that would be what we call direct entry. There's some university transfer routes. So we have the engineering transfer program where we have partner institutions where you can complete your full first year at that transfer partner and come straight into the second year program at either campus. We also offer the opportunity to transfer from non-partner institutions, meaning that you would try and take as close to our first year program as possible and then transfer those credits to UBC Engineering. If there are any Indigenous students in attendance, we have a couple of specific entry pathways for Indigenous students. So there is the Aboriginal admission policy, and there's also the Aboriginal transfer partnership with Langara. So similar to the engineering transfer program, but specific for Indigenous students. And if there's any international students here today, so if you aren't sure that you'll be meeting the English language requirements for UBC as an international student, we also offer Vantage College, which allows you to start in UBC Engineering while finishing up any of those language requirements that you need. So that gives you a little bit of some of the different pathways, and there's more information available on our website for sure about those different pathways. But today we'll be mostly specifically speaking about admission requirements for students entering directly from high school. All right, so most importantly to mention is those application deadlines. We'll get into a little bit about kind of what we look at when you're applying, how we assess your application, but it's important for us to assess your application that you need to apply before the deadlines. So we highly recommend applying before the first round offer deadline, which is December 1st. What that means is that if you are, or that you can be considered based on your results that are available. Basically, mostly we'd be looking at grade 11 results at that point in time, or any final results that you have from grade 12 so far. But that's also the deadline if you want to be considered for our scholarship. So we highly recommend applying by the first round offer deadline. You can get an offer of admission sooner, you can be assessed for scholarships, and you'll get the application out of the way and you can enjoy your winter break without having to worry about anything else. Now, the final deadline to apply is January 15th. So if you are planning to come, you should make sure that you are applying by January 15th. And again, these dates are going to be for anyone who's ready to apply to UBC right now. So typically that would mean that you're in grade 12, or maybe you took a gap year after high school, or maybe you're planning to transfer. But basically, if you're planning to start this coming September, these are the deadlines for you this year, December 1st and then January 15th. If you're in a lower grade, then that just means in the future, in that year before the September you plan to start at UBC, those will be the deadlines to apply. All right, so looking at your admission requirements, what we're looking at the Okanagan campus. So in addition to meeting UBC's English language requirement, there's also several general requirements that you'll need to complete. So you'll need to graduate from high school. And then we also recommend taking at least 6 grade 12 level courses. Now, for those students here today that are from BC, you will need to have English 12, Pre-Calculus 12, Chemistry 12, and Physics 12 to enter the Okanagan campus. If you're from outside of BC, there is a link at the bottom of the screen that you'll see. That is our general UBC admissions website. And you can put in whatever country you're from, whatever province you're from to indicate where you're from. You'll select the Bachelor of Applied Science degree, you'll select which campus you're looking at, and you can use that website to determine which program or which requirements you need to meet for coming into our program. At the Vancouver campus, again, this is specifically for BC students, but same thing, you can check out those requirements of what you may need to meet. So the Vancouver requirements you'll see are very similar. There is an additional requirement where you do need to meet a minimum of 70% in your grade 11 or grade 12 English. And the degree specific requirements are a little bit different as well. So you'll notice on the last slide, I didn't have any grade 11 courses required. For the Vancouver campus, you do need to have English 11, another language at the grade 11 level, Pre-Calculus 11, as well as those 4 courses that I mentioned in grade 12, English, Pre-Calculus, Chemistry, and Physics. Now, another piece that's a little bit different is that you can be admitted with only one of chemistry or physics to the Vancouver campus. So if you have good grades, but you're not able to fit in both of those courses, you can still apply and you can still be admitted. So we do encourage you to apply even if you're missing one of Chemistry 12 or Physics 12. So what will that mean for when you apply? What do we actually look for? What do you need to know more about? So when we're looking at your application, we're going to consider, did you take a range of different academic subjects? So did you take just those required courses? Did you take additional subjects? Did you take some options? Did you take an arts class? Did you take a foods class? Did you take, what else did you take? Now, we're not necessarily using all of the grades from all of those classes, and that's not what I mean, but I mean that we are looking at the breadth of courses that you have taken. We also look to see if you've challenged yourself with advanced courses, if those are available at your school. So if your school has AP courses or IB courses or honors courses, are those courses that you take or that you took? And don't worry, we do consider what school you're coming from. So no student will be disadvantaged if those options are not available to you. And then we also look for demonstrating knowledge related to engineering. So did you take courses related to engineering? Obviously, you have to take those required courses that I mentioned, but were there other courses available to you that you took as well? So those are some of the things that we're looking for when we assess you for your application. And while none of these are requirements specifically, they are things that will be considered when we look at your application, because admissions is a very holistic process. Now, how do we actually assess your application? We're going to look at three main components. So we're looking for your personal profile, and that's where you'll get to fill in a few short questions to let us know more about yourself. For that, we're really looking for that introspection or that reflection on how did the things that you did outside of the classroom shape who you are as a person. We're also looking for your overall academic average. So that means all of your grade 11 and grade 12 academic courses that you've taken. And then we're looking at your core academic average, which is going to be all of your grade 11 and grade 12 courses in the subject categories related to English, math, and science. Those are kind of the pieces that we're looking for. And what we're looking for on those grades is anything available at the time of assessment. So if you're applying by December 1st, you're going to get an email from UBC requesting your transcripts, or you're going to provide if you're in BC, you'll provide your personal education number so that UBC can request those transcripts on your behalf. But we'll generally be looking at anything that's been completed by about January. If we're looking at you through those regular offers, so if you weren't offered an early offer of admission, or if you applied by January 15th, then we'll generally look at whatever's available as a final grade as of March. So those are the kind of grades that we're looking for. We have those required courses. Those are more like a checklist just to make sure that you've taken those courses. When we're looking at your grades, we're looking at more than just those required courses. And this slide is really highlighting, we're looking at those overall courses, we're looking at the core academic average, and we're looking at your personal profile, which plays a significant role as well. Now, kind of one last piece to mention is scholarships. Who doesn't want free money, right? So if you were applying by December 1st, then you will be considered for these scholarships if you indicate on your application that you would like to be considered. So it's pretty easy for that. A lot of our merit-based scholarships are automatic consideration. We have some UBC Engineering specific scholarships. We have some UBC-wide scholarships. So lots of opportunities for you to get some free money if you're applying by December 1st. We also have some financial need-based awards. So that means that you're showing that you're in need of financial assistance. There are a few different ones for that. They do require a separate application, so make sure you're looking online for that. There is the Centennial Scholars Award. There is the Beyond Tomorrow Scholars Award for Black Canadian students. And then we also have a UBC Engineering Entrance Award for Indigenous students. So those are a few other awards to consider. But there's also tons of external scholarships that I encourage you to look at. So it's really your chance at free money. We encourage you to apply to external scholarships as much as you can. I would highly recommend searching keywords like engineering, STEM, tech. If you're a woman or you can search for women in engineering, women in STEM, and there's lots of different keywords out there. So really search, there's lots of scholarships that come out every year that may be applicable to you. Some are specific to where you live, some may be related to where your parents work, and they may have scholarships as well. So really check that out, because there is a lot of money out there that goes every year that no one takes it because no one asks for it. So ask for that money and get free money to go towards your tuition. So that's really a basis of what we wanted to present to you today. So thinking about if you would make a great engineer, think about a world without engineers. What would that even look like? We would have no buildings, no bridges, no cell phones, no life-saving devices, no medicine to heal you, no transportation. Life is pretty good in this moment, but engineers work every day to make our lives better than what they are right now. Engineers improve the environment, our technology, and our medicine. They build solutions to solve our problems and make the world a better place. So if you want to work on a team to solve problems, then engineering might really be a good fit for you. So thank you so much for joining us. There were some questions submitted in advance. So we're going to jump into those questions. And I see that there are some questions coming in the chat. So feel free to add in any extra questions and we will stick around to answer those. The first question that I have that was submitted in advance when you registered for this session, I'm going to ask to Jing. So Jing, if you want to, again, introduce your name, your program, your campus, your pronouns, and then you can answer for us about kind of how you decided which discipline of engineering was the right choice for you.
Thanks, Erin. Hi, everyone. My name is Jing, and I use the pronoun she, her, and I am currently a second-year mechanical engineering student in UBC Vancouver campus. How did I decide which engineering discipline was the right choice for me? I think we were constantly getting exposed to different upper year students, professors that are already in the specific disciplines that you're looking at. So we get to talk to them in different events, and there's also speakers that come into class every single week, and they would just give a presentation about specific stuff, what could interest you in the discipline, what classes you would be taking. And we also got the chance to participate in a lot of events like tutor sessions and design teams. And basically, once you're enrolled as a student in the engineering, as an engineering student, you would get an email every single week or every single month. It's called the EUS newsletter. And they will basically compile all of the events that are happening in the campus throughout the month. And there will be talks, hackathons, competitions that you can join. So I met a lot of upper year students, and I get the chance to talk to them and really get an idea of what each discipline offers. And you can make your choices from there and discuss it with your peers. But regardless of that, I think design teams is a great way to tap into what you actually want to do. But even though I'm not on any design teams, I talked to a couple of people that are already on a design team, and they actually invite you over to look at their projects, and everything is so accessible. You don't really need to be in anything to get the resources. So I think everybody's doing a great job to make so many resources so accessible to just a first-year student. So I was able to make the decision that I wanted to join the mechanical engineering department. Yep.
Perfect, thanks. Alexandra, I'll get you to introduce yourself again. And then once you have introduced yourself, if you can just give us a little bit of a snippet of what your experience in co-op has been like so far.
Awesome. And you can still hear me, by the way, right? Okay, great. Hi, everybody. My name is Alexandra. I am a third-year standing manufacturing engineering student at the Okanagan campus. By third-year standing, what I mean by that is I've passed all my first and second-year courses. Technically, I would be attending courses right now in my third year, but I'm actually on a co-op. I'm currently on a co-op in Vancouver, actually. So I've kind of had the opportunity to experience, I haven't been to the Vancouver campus actually, but I know kind of like the differences between both cities. As of right now, it is raining. So be prepared for that if you want to live in Vancouver. Yeah, so my co-op right now is an 8-month duration. If you do plan to do a co-op, you're going to learn that you can do a 4-month, an 8-month, or a 16-month. It really depends. I think also a 12-month. And it kind of just depends on what you're going to get and what you apply to. The way the cookies crumbled for me was that I ended up getting an 8-month that I've been on since May of this year. And I'm going to be starting my next 8-month in January. I'm actually going back to Ontario for that one. So as of right now, what I have learned, I'm working for a manufacturing company that makes heat exchangers and pressure vessels, primarily for the oil and gas industry. We're a custom fabrication ASME certified shop. So basically what that means is all of our jobs are very custom. Unlike the automotive industry, for example, you're going to have a part, it's going to be the same. You're going to be making thousands of that same part. Where I work, each job is different. So you're dealing with a bunch of different aspects when it comes to CAD, calculation design work, thermal design, FEA, all these fun words you're going to learn about soon enough. My day-to-day experience is typically a lot of CAD work. I've also been able to learn about the project management roles that the senior engineers have. You get to learn about the life cycle of a product from start to finish, where it goes through the proposal stage, then it becomes estimated, which basically means a job gets quoted for how much it's going to cost. Then it goes into the engineering phase where we do design, drafting, all of that. Then we move into purchasing. We got to get the material come in. Material comes in, then we fabricate it. And then there's a lot of things that the governing board, such as EGBC, they have different inspectors that come in to make sure everything's safe. And then once we get the go ahead, then that can be sent out. We send a lot of stuff to the United States. So you're going to find when you're in your program, some of your coursework, like units, for those in Canada, you're going to be using a lot of the metric system, but be prepared when you come into engineering to learn the imperial system too, because we deal with the US a lot. Other than that, yeah, for my next co-op is more geared towards what I really want to do for my career, which is in the automotive industry, particularly racing. I really like F1. So if anybody in the chat right now likes F1, hit me up. I'm going to be working for, I don't know if you've heard, they're called Multimatic. They make the damper systems for Red Bull Formula One, as well as a multitude of different engineering mechanical systems for all kinds of car companies like Ford, GM, and some exotics like Lotus and whatnot. So yeah, other than that, I guess that's all I have to say right now about co-op.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing so much about kind of what you're learning and what you're doing in the job. That's really exciting to hear more about. Well, I have a few more questions that were sent in advance for Jing and Alexandra. I'm going to jump into just a few of the questions about admissions to kind of answer some of those quickly, and then we'll jump back to some other kind of student experience questions as well. So there's tons of questions sent in. We're going to try and get through as many of them as we can. I may not answer your question directly, but there's kind of some that are very similar, so I will try and answer them all together. So just looking through, there were some questions about competitive average for admission, and unfortunately that's really hard to give you an exact answer because we are looking for your overall academic average, your core academic average, and that personal profile, and all of those pieces are really playing a role. So it really is hard to say of what the competitive average is because it depends on where you're currently studying, what courses you're taking, and all those sorts of things. Unfortunately, I can't give you an exact answer for that. Regarding online and summer courses being evaluated the same as full year courses. So as long as it's a course that is on your transcript and completed, we will still consider online or summer courses. Those do need to be completed by the time of assessment. So I mentioned that earlier that we would be assessing your courses generally in about January and March. And so they need to be available on your transcript by that point in time. If you do look on the website that Kyle's linked to, there is more information about when you need to have those courses completed and things like that for them to be considered as part of your offer of admission. Just jumping to a few more questions about admissions. If you have applied, that's so awesome to hear. I'm so glad that you've applied already. Again, first round offers will go out earlier, and that usually means by end of February. And then our regular offers of admission, so anyone that applied by December 1st and didn't get a first round offer of admission, or anyone that applies by January 15th, those offers start to go out usually around sometime in March, and the majority of offers go out throughout April as well. So that's kind of what you can expect in terms of timelines. Are the accreditations and licenses transferable to other countries? A couple things on that. UBC is an internationally recognized institution, so your degree will be recognized internationally. If you are planning to work as an accredited engineer in another country, you may need to meet some additional licensing requirements for that country. So I know for a lot of Canadian students that go to work in the US, you need to basically write a simple exam that can give you licensing in the US. But if you go other places, we have alumni that go to Europe and work in Europe and work all over the world throughout the US, kind of anywhere. And so you just need to look at that country's licensing requirements, but typically you'll have the credentials to do that. You may just need to like take an exam or kind of complete some other pieces to be officially licensed in that country. How does an offer get revoked? Usually I don't get asked this question until much closer to the deadline to accept your offer. If you look on the UBC website, I'll try and link that, but basically there's a website about how to keep your offer of admission. And basically it just means keep any of the conditions in your offer. So when you get your offer of admission, it'll list any conditions that you need to meet. Generally, that's completing the required courses. Generally, that's keeping close to the average that you had when you were admitted. And so if you're meeting all of those requirements, then you will not need to worry about your offer being revoked. So hopefully that helps with that. Student asked about if you're a dual citizen, will you be considered for international student scholarships? So basically you're being considered for scholarships based on what tuition you'd be paying essentially. So if you are a Canadian or permanent resident, no matter where you're currently studying, you would be paying Canadian or permanent resident tuition, so domestic tuition, which means you would be assessed for domestic scholarships. If you are an international student, whether you're studying in Canada or outside of Canada, you would be paying international tuition and you would be assessed for international scholarships. So hopefully that makes it really clear and easy to understand that piece there. In the requirements slide, it mentioned another grade 11 language other than English is required for the Vancouver campus. Yep, it's as simple as that. For the Vancouver campus, you need to have another language at the grade 11 level. The Okanagan campus does not require that. So if that's something that you're missing and you're a BC student, so again, those are BC requirements that I was showing you. If you're not in BC, that may not be a requirement for you. But the Okanagan campus may be another option, or you may want to go through the engineering transfer program, which doesn't have that requirement. We'll still let you take those first year courses, and then you can come into second year at either campus. So those are kind of some other options if you're a BC student and you don't have that requirement. All right, jumping back into some questions for our students. So doing a bunch of the questions that were submitted in advance were kind of like, what do you do in the future with this degree? So if you can give us a nice concise answer about kind of what your main future goals are. I know it's hard to kind of wrap that up into like a few sentences, but maybe let us know kind of where you see your future as an engineer and what that might look like.
Thank you. For me, I think the first year experience of building the claw really opened my mind to robotics, and I got really into it. And I started talking with so many professors that were available to us during open houses, and they were talking about what they're researching on. So basically, I think I have a great interest in robots. So I don't know if anybody know Alexa at your house. So I would be very interested in knowing how to make an Alexa and how to make Alexa even better. than what it is now? What if Alexa can sense that you're actually not feeling so well today? So those are actually called intelligent cooperative robotics, and you can use them for home care, repairment. Like what if you can automate repairment of a broken pipe? You don't have to send people down. Maybe it's a dangerous job. So I feel like I really want to use my degree to help me reach those goals, like to learn how to build them and research about them. And to put it in a more concrete sense is that mechanical engineering department in UBC here actually have a specialization called mechatronics. So you actually get to learn a lot about the mechanical design of something. At the same time, you can also take a few courses about electronics. So you can kind of use your knowledge to combine both of those and make something for your own. And yeah, I think that's it for me.
So Alexandra, a question in the chat that came in is that they've heard that UBC Engineering has a compact first year program with a lot of courses per semester. Is this true, and how is it dealing with all of the work? Maybe you can respond to that.
Well, definitely, definitely your first year is going to be very general. You have to cover all the bases before you can build on that knowledge. The same goes in high school when they're not just going to throw you in and take calculus in 4th grade. They're going to make you learn everything prior to that. So be prepared that, I mean, I'm not quite sure about the Vancouver campus. I know at the Okanagan, we do offer a 4 and 5 year option. I'm in the 4-year. So that typically means that you're going to be taking 6 courses a semester. The idea that university is harder, I would say in your first year, a lot of it is actually a review of grade 12 concepts. The only thing is what makes it harder is the workload. So be prepared that you're going to have to get better at balancing your time. Deadlines and everything sneak up on you really fast. A semester is a lot faster too. In high school, I believe you're in school for 10 months of the year, whereas in university, you're in school for 8. So I believe we started on the 6th of September and we're already well into midterms at this point. And before you know it, I think finals start like the 1st or 2nd week of December. So yeah, that's probably the biggest adjustment. And then you kind of work out what techniques for studying and all that work for you. But yeah, other than that, don't be too scared about first year. It's you get through it. Yeah, just make sure you get your sleep.
Awesome, thanks for sharing. And I know that there's lots of resources for students as well. So we have lots of like free tutoring offered for students. We have lots of students, you're in those project-based like team courses anyway. So a lot of students will make study groups out of those teams or meet other students to make study groups. And really students are supporting each other to get through that. You're all in the same situation. So kind of like working through that together is what I see and hear from all the time, that you know, sometimes students are like, oh, it's so competitive, but everyone's there together and everyone's there to like get through the program together and to support each other through the program. So that's what I hear about, you know, that community and supporting each other through that first year, even if it is a little bit more difficult, and that transition is a little bit more difficult than what you would have experienced in high school. So definitely lots of resources to access and lots of support available from your other students and from upper year students and from everyone basically. Jumping in to answer a few more questions in the chat. So there's a few kind of specific questions that are hard to give an exact answer because it really depends on your personal experiences about kind of really specific things that you may want to study. So one of them is asking about civil engineering, but also looking at courses related to business and interior design. So which do you apply for? So I'd really encourage you to kind of look through a little bit more of those programs online. We definitely have civil engineering at UBC Engineering, and you can take that. You could look at taking some additional business courses. So we have some minors available at the Vancouver campus. We have the minor in commerce and the minor in entrepreneurship that you could take. There's courses, Kyle, is there any specific things that come to mind about kind of getting more involved with business at the Okanagan campus that you want to mention?
Yeah, thanks, Aaron. Similar to the minor of commerce on the Vancouver campus, you have the minor of management. So yeah, maybe you want to get that engineering degree, but someday you want to manage your own engineering company. On either campus, you could satisfy that with a minor, which could help you get into a master's degree in business or commerce potentially. But yeah, there are ways to complement, but ultimately, as Aaron mentioned, you're applying to the Bachelor of Applied Science is your main application. You applied for your degree, not necessarily the program of study. And the minors and options, you're typically applying for those at least after first year, sometimes after second or third year, depending on that minor or option.
Yeah.
Thanks, Aaron.
So there's lots more really specific questions coming in, and I do really encourage you to check out those websites. So specifically the wowU.ubc.ca website regarding any of those admission requirements. So there's some questions of, will this be considered? Will that be considered if I'm from here or there? So definitely check out that website because that will tell you all of your requirements. So there are lots of questions coming in of, do I need this or do I need that? And definitely checking the wowU.ubc.ca website will give you all of that information. So we're hoping to just give you kind of a quick insight today. There's also a lot of there's application workshops happening that are being hosted by the UBC admissions team. There are lots of other general information sessions. So if you're looking for more information than just UBC Engineering specifically, you can check those out of the general ones that UBC is hosting. So definitely head over to wowU.ubc.ca for our general UBC prospective student website with lots of information on there for you. We are hosting some additional sessions later this fall. So in November, we're hosting kind of an application tips and tricks sort of workshop. So if you are ready to apply and have questions, we can kind of help you through that. And then we'll also have kind of just an Ask Me Anything where you'd ask us all of your unanswered questions at the end of November before applying as well. So lots of things coming up. We also have the on-campus open house coming up next Saturday, November 5th at the Vancouver campus, and coming up at the Okanagan campus on Saturday, November 19th. So those are great ways to come and talk to each of the programs. We had our online event a couple weeks ago now, and those recordings are all available online. So that's something you can check out as well. If you do have more questions after today, then definitely feel free to send Kyle or myself an email. You have my email. I've sent you a reminder of today. So please use that email and you can ask me any other unanswered questions. But I'm going to wrap up for this evening. A huge thank you to Kyle, to Jing, and to Alexandra for being here with me today to help answer your questions. Hopefully you got a great introduction into what UBC Engineering is all about, some of the things you could look forward to if you're planning to come here as a student. And hopefully you got a great introduction into where to find some of those resources online for you and kind of how to start checking things out and learning more about UBC Engineering. So thank you all so much for joining. Have a great rest of your evening. And again, you're welcome to send me an email with any additional questions that you still have after today. So thank you, everyone.